Hi everyone, Kendra here, aka Nerdy Millennial, and I'm back with another video. And the topic is, are conventions, anime conventions, comic cons, whatever type of conventions, are conventions getting too adult themed? Okay, I need to talk about it because it's been sitting on my mind lately. And when it comes to anime and nerd conventions or nerd culture in general, I should say fandom spaces, um, are conventions starting to blur the line between family friendly nerd space and adult only entertainment zone? Because I've been noticing a shift. Okay, so my first point, the rise of adult themed panels. So, yes, let's be real, most conventions that include adult themed panels, they do label them as 18 and up. That part is fine. Adults are allowed to have spaces too, and not every panel has to be G or rated PG or PG 13. But here's where the conversation gets a little complicated. A lot of conventions still market themselves as events you can bring your family to. And then at the same time, you've got panels that are very clearly leaning into adult entertainment, suggestive content, or shock value type performances. So the question becomes, where's the line? My next point, what made me think about this and what made me want to talk about this, what actually pushed me to talk about it is, I don't want to say the name of the platform because I know YouTube be acting funny, but I was on another platform and I saw a short of women, and it's nothing against the young ladies that's promoting this panel. I don't know them from a can of paint, but they were promoting a chair dancing panel for DreamCon 2026. And listen to the track, bitch. In a very provocative way. And I just paused for a second, like, what does this have to do with nerd culture? And I'm serious. What does chair dancing have to do with nerd culture? Because they said, do it in cosplay. So because you're in cosplay, and it's like, okay, let's have this panel because we're going to chair dance, but be in cosplay. It has nothing to do with nerd culture. Because when I think of nerd culture, I think of anime discussions, cosplay, craftsmanship, voice actors, gaming tournaments, manga analysis, things like that. Not necessarily content that feels like it belongs in a nightclub environment. It has to be some separation. Okay, you want to cosplay and share dance, whatever, that's your business. It's not for me, but it needs to be separate. It needs to be some separation, and it needs to be outside of the convention. That needs to be an event outside of itself. That's just how I feel on that. Um, and I also want to just say too, if you're gonna have panels that may be outside of nerd culture, why not have things excuse me guys, my allergies, why not have things that is going to be beneficial and help people, like bring like job, there's so many people that's looking for work, young people especially. Why not bring different companies to come, to these conventions for people, like have a job fair within the convention as well, and like for like the dealer's room, they could have a booth off and have, different companies that are hiring, have panels for resume building, have panels to help people that want to, venture off and be an entrepreneur and have their own business, especially, like nerdy things, like if they're into like creating jewelry and things, like creating cute little anime jewelry, kawaii jewelry. Why not have a panel teaching people, the how to start a business, like with the taxes, all that stuff, the ins and outs. That's just my thing. If you're going to have panels that's outside of nerdy things, have things that's going to be beneficial and help people. That's how I feel, because with this, that chair dancer panel, that ain't helping nobody but getting people hot and bothered and thinking lustful thoughts. And they wishing that they had their box of tissues and a bottle of Jergens with them. That's what it's doing. But anyways, I digress. So the next point, the shift in convention culture. And I think this is where the bigger issue is. A lot of conventions are competing now, competing for attention, competing for views, competing for attendance numbers. And somewhere in that mix, it feels like some cons are adding panels or programming that aren't really tied to nerd culture, but are added because they're viral, trendy, or guaranteed to pull a crowd. And I know conventions, they got to keep the money rolling to keep having it. But at what point does it stop being a nerd convention and start becoming something else entirely? My next main point, family friendly versus adult spaces. Here's the tension I keep coming back to. If a convention is advertising itself as family friendly, then there should probably be a clear separation, not just 18 and up badge required, but actual thoughtful separation of space, programming, and energy. Because families are walking into these environments expecting panels about anime, comics, gaming, and fandom history, not stumbling into content that feels like it belongs somewhere completely different. And again, I want to be clear, adult spaces are not the problem. The issue is mixing branding and expectations in a way that confuses the audience. And I just want to say too, with some of these conventions that say market themselves as family friendly too, some things we got to take responsibility for. And again, ladies, and some of the guys, some of the cosplays, like I said, the risque cosplays, they're not for me. But at some point, you have to take responsibility. If you're going to wear that, okay, whatever. But this is just me. If I was going to wear that, I would have like a long trench coat. And if someone wanted a picture, then I would take it off, take the picture, and keep it moving. But there's children around, and I've seen, women walking around with the booty cheeks out, cleavage, like all the way hanging out. There's kids walking around seeing that, and it's got to be some separation. And I know some conventions have like the rules, like with certain cosplays that are not allowed, but I've seen women get away with wearing some things, and I'm just like, that's just too much. But let me get back to what I was talking about. The bigger question. So I keep asking myself, are conventions staying true to nerd culture? Or are they slowly shifting into whatever gets the most clicks and attention online? Because nerd culture already has so much depth, history, creativity, storytelling, community. It doesn't need to rely on shock value to stay relevant. And that's just my perspective. I'm curious to what you guys think. Are conventions evolving in a good way and just becoming more inclusive of different types of expression? Or are they starting to lose the original spirit that made them feel like a safe space for nerds in the first place? So, guys, please let me know in the comments, and, keep it respectful. We can agree to disagree, but we can do it as adults and be respectful. And I just feel like this, like with a lot of these, because I seen a video last year from DreamCon of 2025 of the cabaret, and I was just like, oh my OMG. And yes, I'm definitely sure that was an 18 and up panel, but still, I'm just like, where do we cross the line? And like I said, it has to be some separation. Okay, you want to have that, you want to have the chair dancing, you want to have whatever else 18 and up stuff, that needs to just be with another convention itself. Like, there are adult themed conventions, corn conventions, adult entertainment conventions, they call them. That all that needs to be over there. I just don't feel like, and that's my opinion, I don't feel like it should be mixed in with gaming conventions, anime conventions, comic cons, because then they want to market it again. Most of them want to market, oh, this is a family friendly event that you can bring your grandmother to. I don't think grandma want to see that, and want to see women walking around with the booty cheeks out, and cleavage all the way out, looking like they about to breastfeed. I'm serious, and I've seen some men wear some things too, and I'm just like, no. So Yeah, that's just my opinion. You guys give your thoughts on it. And again, keep it respectful. And until next time, bye.